Lieutenant Commander Elena Vasquez stood in her daughter's bedroom, watching the 7-year-old sleep. Moonlight filtered through the window, casting soft shadows across Maya's face, a face so perfect it made Elena's chest ache. 3 months. That's all it would be. 3 months on the Hermes, humanity's fastest light-speed courier ship, delivering critical data to the Proxima station and back. Elena had done longer deployments. 3 months was nothing. Except for the time dilation. At 98% light speed, 3 months for Elena would be 42 years for everyone else. By the time she returned, Maya would be 49 years old. Middle-aged. Grey hair starting to show. Maybe with children of her own. Elena would miss her daughter's entire life in what would feel like a long weekend. "You don't have to take this mission," her wife, Sarah, said from the doorway. Her voice was carefully neutral, but Elena heard the plea underneath. "The pay is—" "I don't care about the pay," Sarah interrupted. "I care about our daughter waking up tomorrow and her mother being here. I care about not having to explain to a 7-year-old that mommy will be back in 3 months but she'll be 50 years old when it happens." Elena turned to face her wife. Sarah was 32, beautiful, with dark curls and eyes that held a sadness Elena had put there over the course of 5 other lightspeed missions. 5 times Elena had left for months and returned to a world that had aged years. 5 times she'd watched the people she loved grow older while she stayed frozen in time. "This is the last one," Elena said. "I promise. The bonus from this run will pay off the house, set up Maya's college fund, hell, her retirement fund. After this, I'm done. I'll take a desk job. Stay home. Watch her grow up in real time." "You promised that after the last mission," Sarah said quietly. Elena had no answer for that. Because it was true. She'd promised after mission for that it would be her last. Then an emergency supply run to Kepler Station had come up, critical medical supplies, triple pay. How could she say no? Mission 5 had been justified too. They always were. "This time is different," Elena said. But the words felt hollow even as she spoke them. Sarah crossed the room and took Elena's hand. "I love you. Maya loves you. But if you get on that ship tomorrow, I don't know if we'll still be here when you get back." The words hit like a physical blow. Sarah. 42 years, Elena. I'll be 74 years old. Maya will be raising her own children. We're asking you to choose 3 months of your life or 42 years of ours. And you keep choosing the 3 months. Elena looked back at Maya, sleeping peacefully, unaware that her mother was about to vanish from her childhood in the span of a single night's sleep. "I can't turn it down," Elena whispered. "They need me. I'm one of 6 people rated for 98% light speed. If I don't go, they'll have to wait months to find another pilot, and the data is more important than your family," Sarah finished. "I know. You've made that clear. That's not fair." "No," Sarah agreed. "None of this is fair. But it's real, and you have to choose." Elena spent the rest of the night in Maya's room, memorizing every detail of her daughter's face. The small scar on her chin from falling off her bike. The way her nose crinkled when she was dreaming. The soft sound of her breathing. At dawn, Elena kissed Maya's forehead and whispered, "I'll be back before you know it, baby girl." It was a lie. Maya would know it in every one of the 15,330 days Elena would miss. The Hermes was beautiful in the way that bullets are beautiful, sleek, deadly, designed for a single purpose. Elena ran through her pre-flight checks with the efficiency of someone who'd done this 100 times. Commander David Torres, her co-pilot, was already strapped in. At 63 years old, he was one of the oldest lightspeed pilots still flying. He'd made 27 missions in his career, each one stealing years from the world he'd left behind. "You okay?" he asked as Elena settled into her seat. "Fine. Your wife didn't come to see you off?" Elena didn't respond. Sarah had said goodbye at home. There'd been tears, angry words, a long silence. Maya had still been asleep when Elena left. Maybe that was better. Maybe it would hurt less if Maya didn't remember saying goodbye. "I'm retiring after this one," Torres said, his eyes on his instruments. "Got a message from my son last week. He's 78 now. Diabetes, failing kidneys. Doctor gives him maybe 5 years. I've been flying so long that my son is dying of old age, and I'm still young enough to be his grandson." Elena felt something cold settle in her stomach. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you still have a choice. You have a little girl at home. I can see it in your eyes, you're already regretting this. So turn around. Walk off this ship. Go home to your family. We launch in 15 minutes. Then you have 15 minutes to make the right decision." Elena's hand hovered over her harness release. She could do it. She could walk off, go home, hold Maya, tell Sarah she was sorry. Find a different job. A normal job that didn't steal time from the people she loved. But the bonus. The money. The house. Maya's future. The rationalization felt thin even as she made it. "Mission Control, this is Hermes," Elena said into her comm. "We are go for launch." Torres looked at her for a long moment, then nodded and began his own pre-flight sequence. Neither of them spoke again until they were in orbit, preparing for the lightspeed burn. Engaging relativistic drive in 3, 2, 1. The universe screamed. That's what lightspeed felt like, every time. Not physically, the inertial dampeners handled the acceleration perfectly. But psychologically, mentally, it felt like the universe was protesting your presence, like you were violating some fundamental law by moving so fast. Time became strange. The stars ahead blue shifted while the ones behind red shifted and then vanished entirely. The ship's clock showed seconds ticking by, but Elena knew that outside their bubble of accelerated space, minutes were hours, hours were days, days were years. Maya was aging. Right now. Every second that passed for Elena, another 400 seconds passed for her daughter. 7 minutes of Elena's time, and Maya would have aged a day. 2 hours, and a week would have passed on Earth. By the time they reached Proxima Station in 6 weeks, Maya would be 20 years older. 20 years. Her daughter would be 27 years old, living a life Elena would never witness. "Stop thinking about it," Torres said quietly. "That's the only way to survive this job. You stop thinking about what you're losing. You focus on the mission. You tell yourself the sacrifice is worth it." "Is it?" Elena asked. Torres didn't answer for a long time. Then, "No. It never is. But by the time you realize that, it's too late. You've already lost everything." Proxima Station was a small research outpost orbiting Proxima Centauri b, humanity's first extrasolar colony. Elena had been here twice before. Each time, it felt more alien, more disconnected from the Earth she remembered. The station commander who met them at the airlock was new, Commander Jessica Park, young, efficient, born on Proxima Station and had never seen Earth. To her, Earth was ancient history, a place her great-grandparents came from. Lieutenant Commander Vasquez, Commander Torres, Park said, shaking their hands. "Thank you for the data delivery. We've been waiting. Well, I suppose for you it's only been 6 weeks. For us, it's been 20 years since you launched." 20 years. Maya was 27 now. Had she graduated college? Started a career? Gotten married? Elena would never know. By the time she got back to Earth, another 20 years would have passed. Maya would be 47. The data core is ready for transfer, Elena said, keeping her voice professional. We'll need to resupply and run diagnostics, then we can head back. Actually, Park said, her expression uncomfortable, there's been a development. Earth sent an urgent message 3 days ago, 3 days our time. I'm not sure how to tell you this. Elena's blood ran cold. What happened? Park handed her a data pad. I'm sorry. Elena looked at the screen. It was a message from Sarah, recorded 22 years ago but sent via standard transmission, arriving only days ago in Proxima's time frame. Sarah's face appeared on the screen. She was older, 54 now, her hair streaked with grey, lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. She looked tired. Sad. But also relieved. Elena, the recording began. I don't know if you'll ever see this, or if you'll even care by the time it reaches Proxima. But I thought you should know. Maya is doing well. She graduated high school with honors. She's at university now, studying engineering. She asks about you sometimes. I show her pictures. I try to explain about time dilation, about why you're not here. I don't think she understands. How could she? She doesn't remember you. You left when she was 7 and now she's 29 and you're still the same age in her mind. Sarah paused, wiping at her eyes. I've met someone. His name is Michael. He's kind. He's been here for Maya's birthdays, her graduations, her first heartbreak. He's been the parent you chose not to be. I'm filing for divorce, Elena. I can't wait for someone who isn't coming back. Not really. By the time you return, I'll be 74 years old, and you'll still be 35. We'll have lived completely different lifetimes. The recording continued, but Elena couldn't hear it over the roaring in her ears. Maya didn't remember her? Sarah had moved on. In trying to secure their future, Elena had lost their present entirely. Torres found her an hour later in the observation deck, staring at the distant point of light that was Sol, Earth's sun, for light years away. I'm not going back, Elena said. Elena? Why should I? There's nothing there for me. My daughter doesn't remember me. My wife has moved on. I've been gone for 6 weeks, and I've lost 42 years of their lives. If I go back now, another 42 years will pass. Maya will be 89 years old. Sarah will be dead. Everyone I knew will be dead. So what are you going to do? Torres asked. I'm going to keep flying. There's always another mission. Another station that needs supplies. I'll just keep moving forward, never going back. At light speed, I can outrun time itself. I'll stay young while the universe ages around me. Eventually, everyone I knew will be gone, and it won't matter anymore. That's not living, Torres said quietly. That's running away. Maybe. But it's better than going home to a daughter who thinks I'm a stranger and a wife who's a senior citizen while I haven't aged a day. What am I supposed to do with that? Knock on their door and say, "Hi, remember me? I know you're old now, but I'm still young because I chose this job over you." Torres sat down next to her, his old bones creaking. I told you about my son. 78 years old, dying. You know what he said in his last message to me? He said, "Dad, I forgive you." Not "I understand," not "it's okay," just "I forgive you." Because he knows I can't forgive myself. Neither will you. I can't go back, Elena whispered. Yes, you can. It'll be hard. It'll hurt. But running forever isn't the answer. Trust me. I've been running for 30 years, and all I have to show for it is a dying son I barely know and a life I never lived. Elena made her decision in the dark hours of Proxima Station's artificial night. She would return to Earth. Not because it would be easy, but because Torres was right, running forever wasn't living. It was just a slower form of dying. The flight back was quiet. Torres slept most of the way, or pretended to. Elena stared at the data pad Sarah had sent, watching the recorded message over and over, memorizing every line on her wife's face, every gray hair, every sign of the years she'd missed. By the time they approached Earth, Elena had been gone for 3 months. Earth had aged another 20 years. It had been 42 years total since she'd kissed Maya goodbye. Maya was 49 years old now. Sarah was 74. Elena's hand shook as she guided the Hermes through re-entry. The world below looked the same but different: new cities, new coastlines shaped by rising seas, new orbital structures she didn't recognize. 42 years was long enough for the world to change in ways both subtle and profound. Mission Control vectored them to Landing Pad 7. The same pad she'd launched from 3 months ago. 3 months for her. 42 years for them. Good luck, Torres said as they disembarked. You're going to need it. Elena took a transport to the city, her city, except it wasn't anymore. The streets were different. The buildings were taller. The people moved differently, dressed differently. She felt like a time traveler arriving in a future she wasn't prepared for. Her old house, paid off now, thanks to her sacrifice, stood in a neighborhood that had aged gracefully. The tree in the front yard was massive now, casting shade over the whole property. A car she didn't recognize sat in the driveway. Elena stood on the sidewalk for 10 minutes, trying to gather the courage to knock on the door. What was she supposed to say? How did you explain to your daughter that you'd missed her entire life because you chose money over time? The door opened before she could decide. A woman stood there, 50 years old, with Elena's eyes and Sarah's smile. Maya. Her daughter. Middle-aged, a stranger, and yet unmistakably the little girl Elena had kissed goodbye. Can I help you? Maya asked. Then she stopped, her eyes widening. Oh my God. Mom. Elena's voice caught in her throat. Hi, baby girl. Maya's expression went through a dozen emotions in as many seconds: shock, disbelief, anger, grief. You haven't aged. At all. You look exactly like the pictures. Time dilation, Elena said weakly. I'm sorry. You're sorry? Maya's voice rose. You've been gone for 42 years. I'm 49 years old, and my mother looks younger than me. Do you have any idea what that's like? Growing up without you? Explaining to my friends why my mom was never at school events? Why she missed my graduation, my wedding, the birth of my children. You have children? Elena asked, and immediately regretted it. 2. They're in college now. You have grandchildren you've never met. Grandchildren who are older than you look. An older woman appeared behind Maya, Sarah, aged 74, walking with a cane. She looked at Elena with an expression Elena couldn't read. Hello, Elena, Sarah said. Her voice was raspier now, weathered by years. I see you finally decided to come home. I didn't know if I should, Elena admitted. I got your message at Proxima. I almost didn't come back. But you did, Sarah said. Why? Because I was wrong. About everything. I thought I was securing your future, but all I did was steal your present. I thought the money was worth the sacrifice, but no amount of money is worth missing your life. Elena looked at Maya. I missed your life. All of it. And I can never get that back. Maya's eyes were wet. No. You can't. They stood there in terrible silence, 3 generations separated by choices and physics and time. I can't change what I did, Elena said finally. I can't go back and make different choices. But I'm here now. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I'm a stranger to you. But I'm asking, can I at least try? Can I get to know who you became, even though I wasn't there to watch it happen? Maya looked at Sarah. Some unspoken communication passed between them. It's going to be weird, Maya said finally. You're going to meet your grandchildren, and they're going to call you by your first name because calling you a grandmas when you look 35 is just too strange. You're going to see pictures of all the moments you missed, and it's going to hurt. Every birthday, every graduation, every milestone, they all happened without you. I know. And it's going to be my turn to watch you age slowly while I age normally. By the time you're my age, I'll be in my 60s. By the time you're old, I'll probably be dead. The words hit hard, but Elena nodded. I know. That's the price I have to pay. I stole time from you. Now time will steal you from me. It's only fair. Sarah stepped forward, leaning on her cane. There's a guest room. You can stay here while you figure things out. But Elena? I'm with Michael now. I love him. He's been here for us in ways you weren't. I can't undo that, and I won't. I understand, Elena said, and she did. She'd lost Sarah the moment she'd boarded the Hermes. Some losses couldn't be recovered. But you're still Maya's mother, Sarah continued. And well, we were married once. That has to mean something. So come in. Meet your grandchildren. See what you missed. Maybe, eventually, we can figure out how to be something like family again. Elena followed them inside, into a house that was hers but also wasn't, full of decades of memories she hadn't been present for. Photos lined the walls, Maya's childhood, her teenage years, her wedding, her children being born. A life in pictures that Elena had missed in person. That night, Elena met her grandchildren, Jennifer, 23, and Marcus, 21. They were polite, curious, and clearly unsure how to treat this young woman who was technically their grandmother but looked barely older than them. So you're a lightspeed pilot? Marcus asked over dinner. That's actually pretty cool. It's not, Elena said quietly. It's a trap. You think you're exploring the universe, being part of something important. But really, you're just running away from life. And when you finally stop running, you realize everything you ran from is gone. Jennifer frowned. But you saved lives, right? The missions you flew, they delivered critical supplies, important data. Doesn't that count for something? Maybe, Elena admitted. But I could have saved lives in other ways. Ways that didn't require me to abandon my family for decades at a time. I made a choice, and I was wrong. I just hope I can spend whatever time I have left making up for it. 3 months passed. For Elena, it felt like 3 months. For everyone else, it was just 3 months. The same 3 months. For the first time in years, Elena experienced time at the same rate as the people around her. It was strange. Wonderful. Terrifying. She got a job as a flight instructor, teaching new pilots how to handle high-speed craft. Nothing relativistic, she'd sworn off lightspeed forever. She rented a small apartment near Maya's house, close enough to visit but far enough to give them space. She had dinner with the family once a week. Slowly, painfully, they built something resembling a relationship. Maya taught Elena about the 42 years she'd missed, the political changes, the technological advances, the cultural shifts. Elena felt like an anthropologist studying a familiar but foreign culture. Jennifer warmed to her first. The young woman was fascinated by Elena's stories of space travel, of Proxima Station, of seeing Earth from light years away. They went to coffee shops together, and Jennifer would ask a million questions about physics, time dilation, relativity. Marcus was harder to reach. He was angry in ways Jennifer wasn't, angry that his grandmother looked younger than his mother, angry that Elena had missed his childhood, angry at the unfairness of physics itself. "It's not right," he said one evening, after a few drinks. "You get to stay young while Grandma Sarah gets old. Mom gets old. We'll all die of old age, and you'll still be in your 40s. How is that fair?" "It's not," Elena agreed. "Nothing about this is fair. But that's the nature of lightspeed travel. It's a curse disguised as a gift. You get to see the future, but you lose everyone you love getting there." "Then why did you do it?" "Because I was young and stupid and thought money was more important than time. I thought providing for my family meant being absent from their lives. I was wrong." Sarah passed away 2 years after Elena's return. She was 76, had lived a full life, and died peacefully in her sleep with Michael by her side. Elena attended the funeral, standing in the back, watching as Maya eulogized a woman Elena had only known for a few years before abandoning her for the stars. At the reception, Michael approached her. He was 78, kind-faced, with gentle eyes. "She loved you, you know," he said. "Even after everything. She kept your photos. She told Maya stories about you. She wanted you to be remembered." "I don't deserve to be remembered," Elena said. "Maybe not. But you were loved anyway. That's what Sarah taught me, that love isn't about deserving. It's about choosing. She chose to love you even when you were gone. I chose to love her even knowing she'd always carry you in her heart. And now Maya has chosen to let you back into her life. None of it's about deserving. It's about choosing." Elena cried for the first time since returning to Earth. She cried for Sarah, for the years she'd lost, for the choices she couldn't take back. Michael held her while she wept, this man who'd been more of a parent to Maya than Elena ever was, and he didn't judge her. He just held her and let her grieve. 10 years passed. Elena aged slowly, as lightspeed pilots did. The relativistic effects of her missions had left her with a slightly slower biological clock. She was 45 but looked 38. Maya was 59, showing her age gracefully but undeniably. They had coffee every Sunday morning, a ritual they'd built over the years. They talked about everything: Maya's job, her kids, politics, philosophy, the strange experience of having a mother who aged slower than you did. "I'm going to die before you," Maya said one morning, apropos of nothing. "Probably in 20 or 30 years. You'll still be relatively young. You'll outlive me by decades. How does that feel?" Elena set down her coffee cup. "It feels like punishment. Which is what I deserve." "Don't say that." "Why not?" "It's true. I chose this. I chose to fly those missions. I chose to steal 42 years from your life. Now I have to watch you grow old and die while I stay young. It's cosmic justice." Maya reached across the table and took her mother's hand. "You're not being punished. You're being given a gift, the chance to know me now. To be here for whatever time we have left. Yes, You missed my childhood. You missed my teenage years, my 20s, my 30s. But you're here now. That has to count for something. Does it? I think so. I hated you for a long time, Mom. I really did. I hated that you chose your job over me. I hated that you missed my life. But Michael taught me something Sarah knew all along. Holding on to hate just poisons you. Forgiveness isn't about excusing what someone did. It's about freeing yourself from the anger. So you forgive me? Elena asked, barely daring to hope. I'm trying to. Some days are easier than others. But yes, I'm trying to forgive you. And I'm trying to appreciate the time we have now instead of mourning the time we lost. Elena squeezed her daughter's hand. I love you, Maya. I should have said that more when you were young. I should have shown it by being there. But I love you. I always have. I know, Mom. I know. Elena was 52 years old when the Space Corps approached her about coming out of retirement. They needed experienced lightspeed pilots for a critical mission, a rescue operation at Alpha Centauri. Lives were at stake. She was one of only 3 pilots qualified for the run. The mission would take for months. Due to time dilation, 28 years would pass on Earth. Elena looked at the offer. The money was substantial. The mission was important. People would die if she didn't go. But Maya was 66 now. 28 more years would make her 94. She might not survive that long. If Elena took this mission, there was a real chance her daughter would be dead when she returned. Elena declined the offer. Instead, she went to the Space Academy and gave a lecture to the new class of potential lightspeed pilots. Young men and women, all eager to see the stars, to travel faster than light, to be part of humanity's expansion into the cosmos. Elena stood before them and told them the truth. Lightspeed travel will steal your life, she said. Not all at once. Not in ways you'll notice at first. But piece by piece, year by year, you'll lose everyone you love. Your parents will grow old. Your friends will move on. If you have children, you'll miss their childhoods, their teenage years, their entire lives. And when you finally come home, you'll be a stranger in your own family. She paused, looking at their young, eager faces. I'm not saying don't do it. Some missions are necessary. Some sacrifices are worth making. But understand the cost. Every time you engage that relativistic drive, you're making a choice, the mission or your life. The stars or the people you love. And you can't have both. Time dilation is absolute. Physics doesn't care about your good intentions or your noble reasons. It will take years from the people you love, and you can never give those years back. A young woman in the front row raised her hand. But what if the mission is important? What if lives depend on it? Then you have to weigh that importance against the lives you're abandoning, Elena said. Will the people you save be grateful? Yes. Will the mission be successful? Probably. But will your daughter remember you when you return 40 years later? Will your parents still be alive? Will your spouse wait for someone who's been gone for decades of their life but only months of yours? You have to choose. And there's no right answer. There's only the answer you can live with. After the lecture, several students approached her. Some thanked her. Some argued with her. One young man said he was withdrawing from the program entirely. My girlfriend and I just got engaged, he explained. I was going to propose we do a lightspeed mission together as our honeymoon. But you're right, we'd come back to find all our friends old or dead. Our family's gone. It's not worth it. Elena nodded. I'm glad. Learn from my mistakes. Don't make the same choices I did. Maya died when she was 81. Elena was 59 but looked 45. She held her daughter's hand in the hospital, watched her take her last breath, and felt the final piece of her punishment settle into place. She had outlived her daughter. The child she'd abandoned, the years she'd stolen, the life she'd missed, all of it led to this moment, sitting beside an old woman who'd once been a 7-year-old girl sleeping peacefully in the moonlight. Jennifer and Marcus were there, both in their 50s now, both looking older than their grandmother. They grieved for their mother and supported their strange, ageless grandmother who'd been part of their lives for only 20 years but who carried the weight of decades of absence. At the funeral, Elena gave the eulogy. She talked about Maya's kindness, her intelligence, her grace. She talked about the woman Maya had become despite Elena's absence, or perhaps because of it. She talked about regret, about choices, about the price of reaching for the stars. I was Maya's mother for 7 years, Elena said to the gathered mourners. Then I left, and I missed the next 42 years of her life. I came back, and we had 20 more years together. 20 years that I treasure more than anything in my life. But I'll never stop wishing I'd had all of it. Every day. Every moment. Every scraped knee and school play and teenage argument and adult conversation. I traded Maya's childhood for money. I traded her life for the stars. And I will regret that choice every day for the rest of my life. She paused, looking at the casket. If there are any Lightspeed pilots here today, or anyone considering that career, I want you to hear this: your family will age without you. Your children will grow up without you. And one day, if you're very unlucky, you'll stand where I'm standing, burying a child who lived a full life while you were gone. Time dilation doesn't just steal years, it steals moments. Irreplaceable, precious moments that you can never get back. And no mission, no matter how important, is worth that cost. Elena lived for another 40 years. She watched her grandchildren age, watched them have children of their own. She attended weddings and funerals, always the youngest person in family photos, always carrying the weight of years she hadn't lived through with them. She never flew Lightspeed again. She taught at the academy, warning new pilots about the cost. Some listened. Most didn't. The stars were too alluring, the promise of speed too seductive. They would learn, eventually, the same lesson Elena had learned. That time is the only currency that matters. That speed is not the same as progress. That coming home to a world that has aged 40 years while you've aged 3 months is not an adventure, it's a tragedy. Elena was 99 years old when she finally died, looking 65. Jennifer and Marcus had passed years before. Her great-grandchildren, who called her Elena instead of great-grandma because the word didn't fit someone who looked like their aunt, organized the funeral. On her tombstone, they inscribed the words she'd requested. Elena Vasquez. 2087 to 2186. Lightspeed pilot. Mother, grandmother, great-grandmother. I chose the stars and lost the world. And below that, in smaller letters. Don't make my mistake. In the years after Elena's death, enrollment in the Lightspeed pilot program dropped by 60%. Her lectures, recorded and archived, became required viewing for anyone considering relativistic flight. Her story became a cautionary tale told throughout the Space Corps. Some called it propaganda. Some called it wisdom. But pilots who'd made the same journey Elena had, who'd come home to find their families aged or dead, their lives stolen by physics and poor choices, they called it truth. Because Lightspeed travel did steal your life. It promised the universe but delivered loneliness. It offered adventure but demanded everything you loved in return. And the guilt, the terrible, Crushing guilt of watching everyone you love grow old while you stay young, that was the price humanity paid for touching the stars. Elena Vasquez had paid that price in full. And she'd spent the rest of her long, lonely life making sure everyone knew exactly what it cost.